Millennials have an average of millennials have an average of $28,000 in debt, and the biggest source isn't student loans. It may seem like student loans and millennials are inextricably linked, but a new survey showed that education bills are not the leading source of debt among this generation. Millennials, defined here as age 23 to 38, have racked up an average of $27,900 in personal debt, excluding mortgages, according to Northwest Mutual 2019 Planning and Progressing Study. The biggest source of debt, credit card bills, and that's a troubling trend. Channel Barnes, a financial advisor with Northwestern Mutual, tells CNBC Make It. One issue that a lot of millennials have is that they have not wanted to sacrifice their lifestyle even though they have student loans or lower incomes. Barnhill said, that has left us in this spot where they accumulated a significant amount credit card debt. That's especially concerning because it's important to save for future financial goals, such as buying a home or building a retirement fund where you are young. But because millennials are balancing both student loans and credit card debt, the likelihood that millennials are prioritizing retirement in any meaningful way as an overall generation seems unlikely, Brown says. But because millennials are balancing both student loans and credit card debt, the likelihood that millennials are prioritizing retirement in any meaningful way as an overall generation seems unlikely. Bowen says the average paycheck only had the same purchasing power it did 40 years ago. The average paycheck only had the same purchasing power it did 40 years ago, a Pew Research reported found. Almost two-thirds of millennials say they are living paycheck to paycheck, and only 38% feels financially stable, according to a Scrabble 2019 Modern Wealth report. Student loans are also a factor. The number of households with student loans debt doubled from 1998 to 2016, Pew Research Center found. The median amount of loan debt millennials carried was $19,000, significantly higher than Gen X's balance of $12,800 at the same age.
Millennials have an average of $28,000 in debt. And the biggest source isn't student. Millennials have an average
Millennials
of
have an average of
$28,000 in debt.
$28,000
And the
in debt,
biggest
and the
source
biggest
isn't
source
student
isn't
loans.
student
It
loans.
may seem like
It may
student
seem like
loans and
student loans
millennials are
and millennials
inextricably
are
linked, but a new
inextricably
survey
linked.
shows
But a
that
new survey
education
showed that the
bills are
education
not the
bills are
leading
not the
source
leading
of debt
source of
among
debt
this
among this
generation.
generation.
Millennials, defined here
Millennials
as ages
defined here as
23
age
to
23
38,
to 38
have racked up an
have
average of
racked up an average of
$27,900 in personal
$27,900
debt,
in personal debt,
excluding mortgages,
excluding
according to
mortgages,
Northwestern
according to the
Mutual's
Northwestern Mutual
2019 Planning and Progress study.
Progress
The
Study.
biggest source
The
of
biggest
debt?
source of debt,
Credit card bills.
bills.
And that's a
And
troubling
troubling
trend.
trend.
Chantal Bonneau, a financial
a
advisor with
financial advisor
Northwestern
with
Mutual,
Northwestern
tells
Mutual, tells
CNBC Make It.
Make It.
One issue that a
One
lot
issue
of
that a lot of
millennials
millennials
is that they have
is
not
that they
wanted
have
to
not wanted to
sacrifice their
sacrifice their
lifestyle,
lifestyle,
even though they have student loans or lower
lower
incomes.
incomes.
Bonneau says,
Bono
that
says
has left us in
that's
this
left us
spot
in
where
the
they've
spot where
accumulated
they
a
will accumulate
significant
a
amount of
significant
credit
amount
card
of
debt.
credit card
That's
debt.
especially
That's
concerning
especially
because
concerning
it's
because
important
it's
to save
important
for
to
future
save for
financial
future
goals,
financial
such as
goals,
buying a
such
home
as buying
or
a
building
home
a
or building a
retirement fund
retirement
while
fund
you're young.
when you are
But
young.
because
But
millennials are
because
balancing both
millennials are
student
balanced
loans
both
and
student
credit
loans
card
and
debt,
the credit
the
card debt,
likelihood that
the
millennials are
likelihood that millennials
prioritizing
are
retirement in any
retirement in
meaningful
any
way
meaningful
as
way
an overall
as an overall
generation
generation
seems
seems
unlikely,
unlikely.
Bonneau says.
Bonneau says.
The average
The
paycheck
average
only has
paycheck
the
only
same
had the
purchasing
same
power
purchasing
it did
power it
40
did
years
40
ago,
years
a
ago.
Pew
A
Research
Pew
report
Research
found.
report found
Almost
almost
two-thirds of
two-thirds of
millennials say they're
millennials say
living
they are
paycheck
living
to
paycheck
paycheck,
to paycheck,
and only
and only
38% feel
38%
financially
feel
stable,
financially stable,
according to
according
Schwab's
to Schwab's
2019
2019
Modern Wealth
Model Wealth
Report.
Report.
Student loans are
Students'
also a
loans are
factor.
also a
The
factor.
number of
The number
households
of
with student
households
loan
with
debt
student
doubled
loans
from
that doubled from
1998 to
1998 to
2016, Pew
2016,
Research
Pew
Center
Research
found. The
Center
median
found.
amount of
And the
loan debt
median amount
millennials
of
carried
loan
was
debt
$19,000,
millennial
significantly higher than Gen Xers' balance of $12,800 at the
12,800
same
at the
age.
same age. Accumulating the power of 4 is closer to a mass stimulate. Correct. According to the passage, what is the definition of the millennials born after According to the passage, which of the following statements is not true? The leading source of debt is credit card bill. In order to pay off the credit card bill, millennials would like to sacrifice their lifestyle. The number of households with student loan debt doubled from amass 积聚积累 accumulate stimulate correct. Millennials have an average of $28,000 in debt, and the biggest source isn't student loans. Millennials a person born in the 1980s to 1990s, usually plural. It may seem like students' loans and millennials.
You're listening to Youdao Reading Podcast, featuring a wide range of news on politics, business, culture, lifestyle, science, and history.
用英语到世界，大家好，欢迎来到今天的有道阅读。不知道大家是否听说过千禧一代这个词？这是国际上一个专门的代际术语，指的是出生于20世纪，却在21世纪之后达到成年年龄的一代人。 这代人的成长时期几乎同时和互联网的形成与高速发展时期相吻合。现如今，千禧一代已经成熟，并逐渐成为消费的主力军。在中国，他们的消费习惯也悄然显露出3个新的趋势：一是日渐崛起的小众消费，他们的消费与长辈们相比更为个性化和多样化；二是蒸蒸日上的懒人消费。宅这个特征带动了让懒人们懒到底的懒人经济，同时也解释了餐饮、家政、运输等领域服务日渐风行的原因。三是超前消费倾向明显，在目前庞大的花呗用户中，千禧一代占比超过80%。但除了买之外呢，中国的千禧一代在如今各种互联网金融产品门槛低、效率高的情况下，也是十分有理财观念的。以上就是中国的千禧一代，那你是不是也是其中的一份子呢？那在地球另一端的美国，他们的千禧一代又是怎样的情况呢？让我们走进今天的文章，来了解一下美国的千禧一代吧。首先，我们来看一下文章的标题 ：Millennials have an average.
Millennials have an average of $28,000 in debt, and the biggest source isn't student loan. Millennials. It may seem like student loans and millennials are inextricably linked, but a new survey showed that education bills are not the leading source of debt among this generation. Inextricable 逃脱不了的，解不开的。If two things are inextricably linked, etc., it is impossible to separate them. She had become inextricably involved in campaign. Extract 解脱解救 inextricable extract leading 最重要的杰出的领先的主导性的 leading experts 杰出的一流的专家 leading role 主演 supporting role 配角 supporting role the government has played a leading and key role leading it may seem like student loans and millennials are inextricably linked, but a new survey showed that education bills are not the leading source of debt among this generation. Millennials definite as age 23 to 38 have racked up an average of $27,900 in personal debt, excluding mortgages, according to mortgages, according to the Northwestern Mutual 2019 Planning and Progress Study. Millennials rack up 积累到一定金额，比赛赢得多少分和大量获得利润 rack up he racked up 41%. That firm is likely to rack up profits in the coming month. Excluding 除什么什么之外 exclude 排除排斥不包括不考虑 exclude the possibility of something 排除某件事的可能 exclude the possibility of something exclude 排斥排挤拓展意思排斥排挤 she felt excluded by the other girls 拓展意思二 exclude 由于表现不佳被学校除名 concern is growing over the number of children excluded for small concern is growing over the number of children excluded from school over the number of children excluded from school including 反义词 including excluding 除什么什么之外反义词 including 包括 mortgage mort 死亡 gage 誓约担保 mortgage 按揭贷款 If you mortgage your house or land, you use it as a guarantee to a company in order to borrow money from them. Mortgage exclude including rack up Millennials defend has an age as ages 23 to 38 have racked up an average of $27,900 in personal debt, excluding mortgages, according to the Northwestern Mutual's 2019 Planning Progressing Study. The biggest source of debt, credit card bills, and that's a troubling trend. Chantal Borneo, a financial advisor with Northern Mutual, tells CNBC Make It trend 趋势倾向. A disturbing trend is that victims of violence are getting younger. Trend 通常是指事物发展的总的方向或倾向或趋势。Inclination 更多的是指出于个人兴趣爱好或意愿所表示的倾向。Tendency 指固有的习得的倾向性，是指固有或习得的倾向性，强调没有外来影响或干扰，一般指某人具有某种倾向性。Tendency trend 倾向。Trend inclination tendency. The biggest source of debt, credit card bills, and that's a troubling trend. Chantal Borneo, a financial advisor with Northwestern Mutual, tells CNBC Make It. One issue that a lot of millennials have is that they have not wanted to sacrifice their lifestyle, even though they have student loans or lower incomes. Borneo says that has left us in this point where they've accumulated a significant amount of credit card debt. Sacrifice 牺牲 sacrifice something for somebody. She sacrificed everything for her children, making the final supreme sacrifice. Make the supreme sacrifice. Sacrifice 祭品。Spot 境地 in a tight spot 处于困境 in a tight spot in a difficult situation. On the spot report. On the spot report. Accumulate by investing wisely. She has accumulated a fortune. By investing wisely, she has accumulated a fortune. By investing wisely, she has accumulated a fortune. Collect 积累 amass 积累 accumulate collect something in large quantities. Accumulation 积累 rapid the accumulation of wealth. One issue that a lot of millennials have is that they have not wanted to sacrifice her lifestyles even though they have student loans or lower income. One issue that a lot of millennials have 是这句话的主语 that 引导的从句来修饰 issue. A that 是一个系表结构，系动词 is 后面跟着由 that 引导的从句组成的表语 even though 引导的是让步状语从句。One issue that a lot of millennials have 是这句话的主语 that 引导的从句用来修饰 issue. A that 是一个系表结构，系动词 is 后边跟着由 that 引导的从句做组成的表语 even though 引导的是让步状语从句。 one issue that a lot of millennials have is that they have not wanted to sacrifice their lifestyle even though they have student loans or lower incomes, Barnhill says. They have left us in this point where they've accumulated a significant amount of credit card debt. That's especially concerning because it's important to save for future financial goals, such as buying a home or building a retirement fund when you are young. But because millennials are balancing both student loans and credit card debt, the likelihood that millennials are prioritizing retirement in any meaningful way as the overall generation seem unlikely. Barnhill says balance 是账目皆平. He balanced his budget by rigid control over public expenditure. He balanced his budget by rigid control over public expenditure. Offset 抵消相消. Offset balance 余额 check the bank balance. Prioritize 优先考虑优先处理. You should make a list of all the jobs you have to do and prioritize them. Prior 优先的占先的 priority 当务之急 priority. The likelihood that millennials are prioritizing retirement in any meaningful way as an overall generation seem unlikely. 句子主语是 the likelihood 系动词是 seems. The likelihood that millennials are prioritizing retirement in any meaningful way as an overall generation seems unlikely. The likelihood that millennials are prioritizing retirement in any meaningful way as an overall generation seems unlikely. But because millennials are balancing both student loans and credit card debt, the likelihood that millennials are prioritizing retirement in any meaningful way as an overall generation seems unlikely, Barnhill said. The average paycheck only had the same purchasing power it did 40 years ago. The average paycheck only had the same purchasing power it did 40 years ago. A Pew Research reported found almost 2/3 of millennials say they're living paycheck to paycheck, and only 38 feels financially stable, according to the Scamble's 2019 Modern Wealth Report. Paycheck 薪水工资 salary 一般是指按月发放的薪水，领取对象通常是经过培训而具有特殊技能或专门知识的人。wage 一般是指按星期甚至按天发放的工资，领取的对象通常是做体力劳动的人。Purchasing power 购买力 buying power purchasing capacity. The purchasing power of the local currency have halved. Live paycheck to paycheck 过月光族式的生活。The average paycheck only had the same purchasing power It did 40 years ago.
说吧，这个书都非常快看完了。
A Pew Research reported found. 你看完的是你的传了？
不是，还有一个说是舒克舌战贝塔。
找找吧。Almost 2/3 of millennials say they are living paycheck to paycheck, and only 38 feels financially stable, according to ScumWeb 2019 Modern Wealth Report. Student loans are also a factor. The number of households with student loans debt doubled from 1998 to 2016, Pew Research Center found. The median amount of loan debt millennials carried was $19,000, significantly higher than Gen Xers' balance of $12,800 at the same age. Student loans are also a factor. The number of households with student loan debt doubled from millennial lost generation, greatest generation. Silent generation, baby boomer. Generation X. Millennials have an average of $28,000 in debt, and the biggest source isn't student loan. One issue that a lot of millennials have is that they have not wanted to sacrifice their lifestyle. The likelihood that millennials are prioritizing retirement seems unlikely. Isn't student loans the likelihood that prioritizing retirement seems one issue?
Millennials have an average of $28,000 in debt, and the biggest source isn't student loans.
Millennials have an average of $28,000 in debt, and the biggest source isn't student loans. Millennials have an average of $28,000 in debt, and the biggest source isn't student loans.
One issue that a lot of millennials have is that they have not wanted to sacrifice their lifestyle.
One issue is that a lot of millennials have is that they have not wanted to sacrifice their lifestyle.
The likelihood that millennials are prioritizing retirement seems unlikely.
The likelihood that millennials are prioritizing retirement seems unlikely. Millennials have an average of $28,000 in debt, and the biggest source isn't student loans.